Well, the tomatoes are starting to produce faster than we can do anything with them, so I'm going to try freeze drying some and see how they turn out, because we got a bunch of them. We've got, this is just part of them we picked tonight, plus another whole bag. Neighbor come over and picked a great big plastic bag full of them, and another neighbor come over and got some. So already, we're still just, the season's just starting on producing tomatoes. So we're going to slice them all up, put them on the tray, and we'll see how they work in a dehydrator. I figure we can leave them like this, see how they turn out, as well as grind them up into a powder, and we have a tomato powder we can use on different things. Add them to recipes, and you don't have the tomatoes, but you get the powder. All right, there's our 4 trays of tomatoes. Getting ready to load into the dryer. So we're going to take those and we're going to put them in here. So we'll get these loaded in here. And there's the last tray. Now we had so many tomatoes last year, I made like 30 quarts of tomato soup. And I still got some tomatoes left, so I'm going to figure out what to do with this one. I'm going to try some drying them and see how that works. I think that'll work out pretty good. I have some tomato powders. We can make paste or whatever we need to out of it. So we're freezing here now. So we'll come back once they're all dried. It'll probably be tomorrow before they come out. Well, they're all done. We're going to hit defrost. Shut the motor off. And we're going to pull them out. And we're going to take a look at the tomatoes after they're freeze dried. Here's one of the bottom ones. That's crushing up pretty good. That'll make a nice little a tomato. I'll do some whole, and I'll probably make some into a powder. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll come out and I'll show you what I get done. Once I get them all done here, we'll come out. What I'll do is, those I'm going to make into a powder. I'll stick them down into here, and then we'll crush them up, and then the powder will fall through. Down there we go. Then we'll have powdered tomatoes, and they still smell like tomatoes when you're crushing them. And I did try a little piece of tomato. And it definitely tastes like a tomato. Actually, a little stronger tomato flavor. Here's what I got out of the 4 trays. I took, here's some of them, little pieces. Like I said I was going to do, as I put them in here, crush them down into a powder. I used a spoon, keeps them getting all over my fingers. And I had this pint jar of powder, and then this jelly jar full of powder. And then I did a couple where I just left them whole. And then the pieces like this that didn't grind up very well, I didn't want to put it through a food processor. I put them in here, so I have a quart of those. And then I have some powder left. So what I'm going to do with this powder is I'm going to mix in a little bit of water with it and get into a paste and see how that turns out. I'll take and I'll soak these and get those so I can see what those look like. And I've had this tomato soaking in the water for a while. It's kind of waterlogged, but I suppose I could let it sit a little bit and then come back. I got way too much water because I put a whole bunch of water in here. But I'm going to taste this and see what it's like. Other than it's a little waterlogged, it don't taste too bad. One way to keep our food, don't have to can them, doing this way, and they'll last quite a while. And if I'm making like a stew or something I want in here, I could just use those whole. Use these for making a tomato paste. So let me get ready to make up some of the paste, and we'll come back and we'll show you what that looks like. I've transferred it to a little smaller bowl, as you can see, just the moisture in here, this is starting to clump up a little bit instead of being a powder. And that's just the moisture that's absorbing from the air. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit of water at a time and stir it up and see what it's doing. Of course, I'm going to have to add quite a bit more water than that, I think, but a little bit less water, it'd been a little bit thicker, but that's almost like ketchup. Add spices and there's your ketchup. So now we're going to try just a little bit of this. Let it sit for a little bit. Let me taste it. Yeah, it actually tastes pretty good. Got a real good consistency. Good tomato flavor. I think that's going to be a winner. It's creating the powder like this. This will work if you're going to put like into soups and stuff like that you don't want big pieces in there. And I don't know if these will rehydrate and be good like you eat like in sandwiches or anything, but they're pretty good that way. I think if I do any more, I'll do as much powder as I can, because it takes up whole lot less space. And I might send these through the food processor and grind those up even smaller into a powder. But that's how the tomatoes turned out. This turned out really good that way with the powder, so I think that's going to be good. All right, I took those little pieces that were like this, mixed them in here with the powder. Now you have to remember that if you don't want seeds, the powder won't have any seeds in it. And if you crush them up like this, they'll have the seeds in it. Or if you do them whole, there'll be seeds in them. So depends on how you want to do it. If you want just the powder, which I think is going to work really good, but that's what it looks like after having adding those other pieces in and just a little bit more water. So now you can have it as thick or as thin as you want.